Massachusetts city, known for its historic witch hunts, is now home to headquarters of the Satanic Temple. The group has more than 40,000 followers nationwide. The Satanic Temple's website insists the version of Satanism does not worship any physical devil or anything supernatural. People who live in the area, they don't seem to mind.
Neither here nor there, as long as they're, friendly people.
I think it's a good idea for Salem and the tourists.
This Satanic Temple sits about a mile from where 19 of the 20 people convicted of witchcraft in the 1690s were hanged.
Thursday will mark the opening of the international headquarters for the Satanic Temple in Salem, Massachusetts, a city which has a history of persecuting those accused of Satan worship. However, the church says its mission is to promote separation of church and state and not devil worship. It was in Salem in the 1690s that 20 people were executed in the infamous Salem witch trials. Lucian Greaves, a spokesperson for the Satanic Temple, says, "The irony that a town which once executed people because of alleged ties to Satan will now be hosting the headquarters of the world's largest satanic organization is not lost on us." Salem City Council President Josh Terrell told reporters, "It's not really that big of a deal. We've had weirder things pretty much on every other street corner."
Members of the Satanic Temple hung out on their front porch with a camera crew from an online channel, but said they were not available to talk to us.
I apologize, guys.
The group says its new headquarters will open to the public as the Salem Art Gallery, featuring exhibits, lectures, and film screenings. How did they seem to you?
Oh, they seem like normal people.
Mike Lester, who lives nearby, stopped to chat with his new neighbors and said he plans to be back.
Oh, I'm going to go in and see what it looks like, yes.
Are you intrigued?
Yes, I'm very interested to see what it's all about.
According to the Satanic Temple's website, the group is all about religious pluralism. Its mission statement to encourage benevolence and empathy among all people, reject tyrannical authority, advocate practical common sense, and promote justice. Holy Mary, Mother of God. 2 years ago, the Satanic Temple sparked protest in Oklahoma City when it held a black mass. Later, the group tried to have a 7.5-foot bronze goat-headed statue placed next to a Ten Commandments monument outside the Oklahoma State Capitol. The group says it's now brought that statue to Salem.
I don't agree with that at all. So that could be a problem. That could cause a big problem around here.
The group's co-founder says he finds it ironic that a town that once tortured witches is now home to the Satanic Temple. He says so far the community has been friendly and supportive. Live in Salem, David Bieniek, WCVB News Center 5.
They first gained fame locally when they tried and failed to reenact a black mass at Harvard. But lately, the Salem-based Satanic Temple has been building a national profile thanks to a series of provocative interventions in the never-ending debate over church and state in America. Adam Riley has more.
From the outside, there's nothing exceptional about this storage shed off a busy road in Salem. But on the inside, it's another story.
It carries all these binary elements, which to us spoke to this idea of the reconciliation of opposites and pluralism. The animal, the human, pointing up, pointing down, the male and female.
Lucian Greaves is co-founder of the Satanic Temple, which calls itself a religious organization that opposes tyrannical authority and sees Satan as a symbol of free inquiry and personal autonomy. This statue was originally designed for the Oklahoma Capitol as a counterpoint to a controversial monument to the Ten Commandments. But then Oklahoma's Supreme Court ordered that monument's removal, so now the statue could be headed south.
Arkansas has already denied our monument going on their grounds. However, they're moving forward with putting up the Ten Commandments monument. We are going to sue Arkansas. There's no doubt about that.
Because Greaves says there's no legal justification for allowing one public religious monument while banning another. This is a key part of the Satanic Temple's MO. It watches for breaches of the church-state divide and then enters the fray, arguing that if Christianity can cross certain lines, Satanism can too. Another example, after-school Satan clubs, which are causing a stir in places like Arizona.
You bring up Satanists and you elicit a reaction. So I put it on my Facebook page.
Especially when you think about putting it into schools somehow, some way.
And with snacks and things like that.
The promotional materials for after-school Satan include this cheery logo and a YouTube video that resembles a horror movie. But despite the kitsch, Greaves says the after-school Satan campaign highlights a serious issue. Across the country, so-called good news clubs, sponsored by the Child Evangelism Fellowship, are pitching fundamentalist Christianity in public schools.
Just the very idea that we were applying to have 9 after-school Satan clubs to counteract them brought the good news clubs into public consciousness, which was already a win for us.
And the Satanic Temple plays another angle. It identifies practices it finds objectionable, like school-based corporal punishment in Texas or abortion restrictions in Missouri, and urges people to push back by claiming those practices violate their satanic religious beliefs.
We feel that due to our tenets, again, that the body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. And on religious principle, we rely on science as the arbiter of truth claims.
So far, Greaves admits the anti-corporal punishment campaign hasn't taken off, but their lawsuit challenging Missouri's abortion policies has reached that state's Supreme Court, all of which raises an obvious question. Is the Satanic Temple a real religion or just a clever way to provoke and challenge the religious right? Greaves says that while the group pointedly rejects the supernatural, its beliefs are sincere and deeply held.
We have a sense of cultural identity and ethics and a narrative structure that really binds us together. The political battles we fight aren't all there is to it. And I feel that even if we didn't have these fights to fight, most of us would still be here, and we'd still have this sense of community, and we'd still be who we are.
And however you define the Satanic Temple, right now, its approach seems to be working like a charm. Adam Riley, WGBH News.
Oral arguments in that Missouri Supreme Court case on abortion are slated to start in January. Unless you think the Satanic Temple only picks fights in red states, we should note they're not happy that they haven't been allowed to give the invocation at a Boston City Council meeting yet, and they're thinking of litigating here, too.